Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Sal's House. We're on location one more time here at TSE Buffalo, 3107 Orchard Park Road in Orchard Park, a little as you get past West Seneca. Really, really happy to be here. Going to be welcoming in and talking to my man John Gurtler here in just a little while. But before we do that, as always, want to thank TSE Buffalo for having us out. Fantastic night tonight. The reason we are here tonight, the Buffalo Bandits are coming in, a whole bunch of them. There's going to be a big signing with the Buffalo Bandits coming to town, coming to this place tonight. If you don't have your ticket yet, it is not too late to get down here right now. Come on down, 3107 Orchard Park Road. Got a bunch of great Bandits coming down. We're going to have a signing here, a public signing. And, of course, let me just wheel you around and check it out. This is what it looks like here at TSE Buffalo. You want to see all the great stuff they have? Look at all this. Look at this memorabilia. Say hi, everybody. There you go. Look at all that. I mean, amazing, right? All of the jerseys out there, the mini helmets, everything that's going on. John was very impressed with looking at all this thing right here. All right.
Heavens.
So listen, TSE Buffalo, they've been a part of Sal's House and Capaccio Media here for a while, and we're really, really loving our relationship with them. So thank you to Peter and the entire staff here at TSE Buffalo. Go and check out everything they have going on at tsebuffalo.com. Also, Sports City Pizza Pub. I mean, you were looking for a place to watch games this weekend, go to Sports City Pizza Pub. Also, how about this? Congratulations to the Rizzos. Mike Rizzo and his wife, they had their first child just a few days ago, owners at Sports City Pizza Pub. So congratulations, Mike. And we're all happy for you guys, and hopefully everybody and mom and baby and everybody is healthy and doing great. And in the meantime, you can go to Sports City Pizza Pub tomorrow to watch the football games. You got 2 games tomorrow. You got the Bills game going on. You still got the Sabres out on the West Coast, basketball, and they, of course, have great pizza and great wings. And want to welcome in a brand new sponsor to the show coming up just tonight, Herbal IQ. Herbal IQ, New York State licensed dispensary. They're located at 6055 Transit Road in Depew. So welcome aboard. Thank you very much for Herbal IQ to come aboard and be a part of Sal's House. I really appreciate that. All right, we are live on Twitter/X. We are live on the Sal Sports Facebook page and Sal Sports YouTube. Now, the way this works, if you want to comment, you got to go over to the YouTube page or the Facebook page. You can't comment on Twitter in the actual comment box. If you have a question for John Gurtler about the Bandits or anything else in his broadcasting career, we welcome it. Got a question for me about the Buffalo Bills or anything else going on this weekend, the Bills taking on the Patriots? We'll get to that as well, and I'll be happy to answer any of those questions. In the meantime, my man, John Gurtler, how are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
When they asked me to come out here to be part of this signing with the Bandits, and I said, I got to bring somebody out that's knows about the Bandits more than I do, who's embedded with the team. And you and I, we've had a relationship for a while, and we've gotten to know each other. And I haven't talked to you in a while. I said, how about my man, John? So congratulations on a great season last year. Look at this. This guy brought his Bandits championship ring with him. Check this out. Let's show it on the screen here. Check this out. I'm going to bring. You want me to put it up here? All right, here we go. Okay.
Set it up because
can I take it out of there real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. You hold it. You hold it if you want. All right. You put it on. Do you actually put it on? Wait. Here we go. Okay, folks. There it is. Check this thing out. Look at that. That is sweet.
Bling bling.
Oh my gosh. Did you have any say on how that thing goes down?
No,
do you wear it?
They did a great job.
Do you ever wear it?
I put it on right when I got it last week, and then I figured, well, maybe I've gained a little weight since they've done the measurements, so I better keep it encased in the box.
Gotcha.
So anybody that comes in, you want to take a look at the championship ring, stand by. It's right over here. Loaded with diamonds and rocks and gold.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Love it. Listen, we have some people in the chat box. Chris, I see you in there. Just want to make sure you guys can hear us and see us okay. Want to make sure everything goes okay for everybody in the back end of this because we're live here at TSE Buffalo 317 Orchard Park Road. So, Chris, I see you in the chat box there. Anybody else, come on in and say, you know what? I got you guys loud and clear. That would be great just to kind of confirm that you guys can hear everything we're talking about. All right, so tell us about season number 20 for you, right? Is that what it is?
21.
21. Oh, my gosh. 20th was last year.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Sam, for letting us know. Everybody hears us good. Go ahead.
Although that's a good point, though, because we didn't play in 21. 21 was the COVID year, so we didn't play, but I was still with the organization doing things. So I call myself the 21st. I started back in 2004, so this is my 21st season coming in at the 2025 season.
How did you get the job?
Amazingly enough, John Lipsey, who you probably know or remember back in the Sabre days, and he was involved with the Sabres because the Bandits are owned by the Sabres, Mr. Fakula. And he gave me a call and just said, hey, listen, we haven't got anybody for our radio. We want you to do it. So I said, well, John, I really don't know that much about lacrosse. He said, that's okay. I says, it's just like hockey, and it's just nothing but a good time. So that's all we want you to do is just make sure you have a great time with it. And I did. I said, okay, I'll do it. And that's how I got started. And I started working with Randy Mearns, who's now the head coach at St. Bonaventure. And Randy and I worked together, for the last 19, 20 years as well.
That's
And
amazing.
it's just been a wonderful experience. The game itself has changed dramatically, even in my tenure of 20 years. And just in the last 10 years, it's so athletic now. It's so systematic. And just the guys, the way they play, nothing against the guys back then, but now it's just so intense and it's so involved with athletics. And the guys got to be in shape now and they got to play constantly. So it's an elevation of the game. And the Bandits themselves bring a different level of competition now going into their second championship year. You know, they won in 23 and won in 24, and now the eye is on number 3 if it's a possibility. And I think
they're off to a great start, right?
Oh, they're off to a wonderful start, 3-0, and it's just to a point where, you know, they had 14 days, a layoff of 14 days after the game in Ottawa, and then they came right back on the 28th at home for the home opener and the banner raising ceremony, and the guys just played impeccably well. It was just a complete game, according to John Tavares, and I concur with him. The guys just played incredibly well, and it's amazing after a 14-day layoff. And they're going to do the same thing again, Sal, because they're off again this week before we play Toronto next week.
Okay.
So,
well, listen, if you're a Bandits fan, you're watching this, there's time to come down here. That's why we're here now, because some of these guys come. Let me just put it on the screen here for everybody, all right? Check this out. Tonight, Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, Matt Vince, Tahoka Nanacote, Chase Frazier, and John Tavares all coming down here tonight where we are, 3107 Orchard Park Road, TSE Buffalo. That's happening tonight. Look at those names, folks, all right? If you're a Bandits fan, you want to come down here, you want to get something signed, you want to meet these players. Tonight's the night to do it. They have a group of players at 6 o'clock, a group of players at 7 o'clock. You have plenty of time to come on down here. It's a beautiful night out to come on, take a drive down. So that's why we're here, and that's why John is joining me to talk about this. All right, so what is the difference between calling hockey and calling lacrosse? Is there, if someone said to you, well, it's kind of like hockey, is it?
It is kind of like hockey. Well, it is hockey because there's 5 players out of the surface between each teams, and then certainly the running. And I would say it's probably 4 seconds faster than hockey because the ball moves so quickly. And where I get caught up in is because it moves so quickly from one end of the field to the other, capturing the enthusiasm and the style of play with these guys is sometimes you want to give a description of what's going on. And my job, specifically in radio and television, is to identify who the player is, where the player is on the floor, and if it's a shot, and then you want to try to, throw the exuberance in of a goal scorer.
Yeah.
But, hockey, sometimes you've got a 2-1 game. In lacrosse, it averages 24 goals a game between both clubs, right? So it could be a 13-10 final. So that's a lot of goal scoring that's happening. And I think that's what makes the game so exciting. They play music during the game. The fans are always going crazy. The play is just continuous. The game itself, they've tried to speed up a little even further after goals scored. They've got 35 seconds to get to the face-off circle and get it done and get it over, get it started with. So it's just continuous action. And I think it's more of a demand for an announcer just to identify, and I try to pull myself back into a scenery. You can look and see what's going on in the field. But a lot of times I just get focused in on one player who's got the ball, and then he'll either dish it off or pass it to somebody else, and then the shot is on the goal. And 9 times out of 10, it's a goal. It's a score.
What was it like last year? I was in the building with my wife and son when they won at home. It was, it was one of those deals where I'm like, look, if a Buffalo team's ever going to win a championship here in this city, like do it while they're home.
Right.
This is the time, because a Super Bowl wouldn't be played here. Maybe the Sabres could at some point, get back to that level, but you never know. But we are here at home tonight for a chance to do this. We went to the game. What was it like for you to be in that arena to call that championship in front of the crowd?
It was amazing. I mean, it was just, you got to remember too, in the 2 best-of-3 series, we had played the night before in Albany, and we beat the Fire Wolves and then came right back. It was like a 5-6 hour bus ride back. And then the guys still filled with a lot of enthusiasm and running on adrenaline.
Yeah.
I think we all were. And we wanted to get right back into game number 2 on that Saturday night. And with the identification that, this could be the night. had we lost, we would have gone back to Albany for game number 3. Nobody wanted to do that.
No.
So to put it into perspective of saying 19,070 people on hand, just out of their minds, even before the opening faceoff, it was it was so exciting and kind of a nail biter all the way through until they took off near the end. And I think the key was when Chase Frazier scored from that setup of the hidden ball trick where Byrne kind of faked it off. Thought that he was going to give it to Byrne, and then Byrne went in like he didn't have the ball, and then Frazier just caught the goaltender sleeping. And then I just thought at that time, man, these guys are just tuned up. They want to win this badly. So it's really exciting.
They didn't start that great last year. That was the thing, right? They had to kind of sneak in to get in there and had a little trouble along the way, right?
Yeah. After the Vancouver game in Vancouver, the team had lost their 3rd in a row. They stood 5-6 on the season. And I think at that time, as I had mentioned a couple of times in a cold, misty evening in Vancouver after the Sabres had lost.
Robert Frost over here calling Bandits games, no doubt.
Down on their luck. And something happened in the transition, whether it was the flight back from Vancouver to Buffalo, that the team rallied and, they put 6 wins together during the regular season and then 5 during the playoffs. And then overall, they were 11-1 to win the championship. So 11 wins. And right now they're at, what do we got? 14-1 since that cold, dreary night in Vancouver.
It all worked out.
They put it together.
We are already, get this, over 1,100 live viewers right now. 1,100 people are watching this stream right now.
Why not?
It's amazing,
it's Sal's house.
Okay, it's Sal's house. Welcome into Sal's house, TSE Buffalo. Go to TSEBuffalo.com if you want. One more time, I'm going to show you this. This is what's happening here tonight, folks. Check this out. All right, this is a public signing for a bunch of Buffalo Bandits coming in. Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, Matt Vince, Tahoka Nandicote, Chase Frazier, and John Tavares. Yes, Coach Tavares. Wow. They are coming in tonight. They're going to be here. Now, the way it works is you go online to TSEBuffalo.com, you buy a ticket to have something signed, or you can just come in here and get your ticket right here. You can literally come in. You do not have to have a pre-bought ticket. That might be the easier way to do it, but it's super easy just to come in. 3107 Orchard Park Road. So we're going to be here for a little while, and then they're going to be here signing things. So thank you. By the way, come on in and say hi to Maniac. He's here from Trainwreck Sports and his crew. So we got a lot of things going on here at TSE and TSEBuffalo.com. So a lot of you might remember, John actually was also the play-by-play man for the Buffalo Sabres for a little while. And yes, of course, RJ's call of Mayday stands tall above so many others, the greatest call in franchise history. Yep. I was listening to you call that goal on television at the time. Take us back to that goal, that moment, you calling it. Brad May scores in overtime, Game 7, 93 against the Bruins.
Yeah, it just seems like yesterday, and just
Game
watching
4.
The game against the Bruins, and it was always a heated rivalry since I was a part of the Sabres, and then get into that playoffs and was looking to sweep them, which was just totally unheard of.
Yeah.
And the team at that time playing so well, and again, the chemistry of that team, knowing that they had an opportunity to defeat the Bruins. And they just all put it together for a point and setting up the play. I think it was LaFontaine that left it up into the center where Brad May grabbed it and just took it off. And
LaFontaine on his knees when
you
he fell.
kind of just sense the fact that Brad May was going to score.
Yeah.
And then that just put the old odd into frenzy in the fact that they were able to defeat the Bruins and move on into the playoffs. But most notably, that game was certainly an underline of how good the franchise was at that time. And hopefully the guys that are currently playing today that look at some of those videos and say, hey, we can put this all together and kind of turn things around, which they still have an opportunity to do so.
All right, we have some comments coming in. First of all, thank you, Sam. I see you. Brian McDermott. Don't know if he's related to Sean, but Brian McDermott is in saying hello. We got Bobby Blazier from Ohio. Thank you. Dave, my man Dave Herzog down in Florida, my Florida golfing buddy. He's over there as well. Andrew has a question. Brian, Nick Pond says, hey, John. Hey, Sal, how are you? Andrew says, all right, John, what do you see in the Bandits now that's different from the teams that didn't go all the way? Like, what's the difference in this group?
Yeah, chemistry. And I saw that the other night in the win against Rochester, and something that I had made a note on of watching how they scored those goals on Saturday night. It's all a part of the new batch of chemistry that this team has. And secondary, all these guys have God-gifted talent. That's how they are all a part of it. They understand the nuances of the game, but now they understand each other. And I think it's a point where it's a great family. The Bandits have always been a great family. One of the reasons why it spawned into Bandit Land with the
Yeah.
fans that are so loving and follow them so well. But the team itself has just an uncanny amount of chemistry right now that they understand what everybody's role is, whether you're the superstar like Josh Byrne or Dane Smith, to the players that help them practice on a regular basis, and then their exuberance altogether is just something that's I have never seen before. The number of teams that I've been with the Bandits over the years, and I just feel it from a sense that they can carry on this next phase of the remaining games, and hopefully, like Steve Priola would say, hopefully we'll qualify for a playoff position. But for all intents and purposes, I think this team just has an amazing ability to control and to dominate a game like they have the last 3 games. And it's due to the fact of the chemistry. They all love each other. And I saw it the other night when I was over at the Cobblestone Bar and Grill, which is the kind of watering hole after the game right across the street in the arena. And the fans come in, the players come in after they're all finished and put their clothes back on and dressed very well, and they mingle with the fans. But Saturday night in particular, they had wives, girlfriends, aunts, uncles, moms, dads. This is the Bandits family.
Yeah.
These are the players' family that were there, and they were just involved so much. And it's just from one player to another, and it was just hugs going on and smiles and pats on the back. And these are the players together. And this is where I really figured that, hey, these guys really enjoy each other. They enjoy their company, and they're there to help and enhance whatever they can do on their quality of playing to help a guy like Josh Byrne. And you see it in their play that they're going to make the pass over to Byrne, or Byrne will set it up over to Smith, or vice versa. That you always have that. So this is a special issue for 24-25, and that's what's going to be the fun to follow it.
Wow, we got my buddy Matt Lex coming in. Matt Lexner, he's a volleyball coach in Orchard Park,
Matt.
high school teacher. Matt, I think we watched that game maybe together. You called the Mayday goal. We got Brian who says, John, do you think they have what it takes for a three-peat? I'm imagining you absolutely do.
I do.
This team has what it takes for a three-peat. What will it take? Like what's the thing they really have to make sure they are really buttoned up on to make sure they take this one home again this year? Yeah?
Health. And I think what's really cool to it is that what Steve Dietrich, the general manager and defensive coordinator, John Tavares, and Eric, Vince, and the rest of the coaching staff have put together, I think the depth is really starting to come around where should a player go into an injury situation that they're able to supplant that player and they can make the contribution. But health is going to be the most important part. You know, and I know, and all of the fans know that this is a violent game.
Yes.
This is a real tough game. And, you can get injuries, you can pull muscles, you can break stuff. So I think by keeping everybody healthy. But here's the bottom line of it. All of these guys, especially during the week and this 14-day layover that they have to go, through again, these guys only practice once a week. So it's on their behalf to go to the gym on a regular basis and stay in shape and practice shooting. And they've got a lot of guys here in Buffalo that still, that live, obviously, with Josh and Dane building homes and getting married. And we have maybe 8 to 10 players that live here in Buffalo. And they all work out together at the center, the workout center. And then they practice cryotherapy, which is over at Buffalo Cryo. And then some of the guys have acupuncture, which Josh goes through.
Yeah.
And staying healthy and then they go through this incredible phase of shooting all the time, 4 or 5 times a week, just working on their shots. And Josh Byrne told me this when I interviewed him about 3 weeks ago. He said, I'm doing a new style of training with my shots. He said, I watch a lot of the basketball players. He said, Steph Curry doesn't step out on the court and start draining threes. No, he goes right to the net and starts working on his shot, right at the net. Right around that net. And then he pulls back a couple of feet and shoots it again, pulls back a couple of feet, shoots it again. So Josh has figured this out where he does the same thing. And he just continues to look at certain areas of the net where he shoots and then pulls himself back. And then we've seen some of those beautiful goals that Josh can score at the top of the slot. We're looking in just a milli-inch of one of the goals that he scored Saturday night, of just knowing where that target is. And I found that fascinating. And I said, you're right. I mean, so Steph Curry doesn't just come out of the court and start draining the threes.
No.
He works at his shot just like the players do for the Bandits, and they work at their shots all the time.
I mean, I go out to Bill's practice, and it's so funny. Like, I used to coach high school football. They do the same things that we would do at the high school level, which is there's a target. Josh Allen works on his footwork, works on his release, works on his mechanics. They do this every day. They're professionals. That's what gets them to be at the highest of levels. But I'll tell you what your story just reminded me of. I remember years ago, Doug Flutie would say how, and people would talk about how he would literally, because of his stature and having to throw from different angles, he would warm up that way. He'd throw with jumps. He'd throw with sidearms. He'd have to throw through windows that others didn't have to throw to. So he would literally work on those things during practice sometimes.
Right.
I
Just
mean,
like Peyton Manning would do the same thing in the Christmas tree with Harrison, right? When they were all together, the two of them.
Yeah,
Marvin Harrison. Work on those sideline patterns, and he would just constantly work on that side. But I see your point too, especially with Josh Allen and the number of reps that he has to take 100%. During the week, because he knows, give or take the style of play that he has during the game, he's got to rely on some of those things that he's worked on throughout the week.
I want to talk to you about the coach of this team, John Tavares, will be here tonight, and covering him and watching him play and then coaching. But let's thank once again our sponsors. We're here at TSE Buffalo. TSEBuffalo.com is where you go online to get a ticket for tonight. If you want to come down, you want to meet one of the Bandits that's coming down, any of the Bandits, all the Bandits that are coming down. Check it out. Here's the list once again. Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, Matt Vince, Tahoka Nanticoke, Chase Frazier, John Tavares. They'll all be here tonight starting at 6 o'clock. Some will be coming at 7 o'clock. You come on down. Can you grab me a ball? I can show everybody on the screen here. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Here, check this out. Come on down. You get one of these balls signed. Check this out. You can get one of these things signed. Bring it home to your kid. All right. Never too late for some Christmas presents and birthday presents. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Starting to fill up with some people here showing up, right? People are showing up who bought some tickets. You can come right down here, 3107 Orchard Park Road. Get your ticket when you walk in, and you can meet some of these guys as they come down. Once again, also thank you to Sports City Pizza Pub, 1407 Niagara Street. They're doing a great job of making sure you're all set to watch any game you want. It's the best spot in Buffalo to watch all of the games. Trust me. And the cool thing, John, when you go to Sports City, I don't know if you've been there, we got to go and get some wings, me and you. You look up, they have all old hockey jerseys.
Oh, wow.
Like there's a Nordiques, there's a Whalers, right? There's World Juniors. It's pretty cool. So make sure you check all that out. And then Herbal IQ. Thank you very much to Herbal IQ, New York State's licensed dispensary, 6055 Transit Road in Depew. This is their first time ever here as a part of Sales House, but they're going to be a part of us going forward, and we really appreciate everybody over at Herbal IQ. Check them out. Once again, 6055 Transit Road in Depew. All right, John Tavares is coming here tonight.
Yeah.
You got a chance to watch him play.
Yes.
College games.
Yes.
And now you're covering him as a coach. What has been the evolution of John Tavares from a young guy playing to coaching now to these guys?
I just remember him in my first year of 2004, and we first played in Vancouver, so it was a long road trip, and I was just trying to get to know everybody that I could, and it was a great time with Richie Kilgore and Darius Kilgore, and then John being the star player, the evolution of one Mark Stainhouse, but everybody knew that Tavares was the man, and certainly with his credentials and his style to play, and it was just one thing, it was just like, I try to hold myself as an announcer and play-by-play of just making sure that I follow John as a player and just not in awe, and just some of the things that he did out on the turf, and how creative he was during that time of the game. And, he, like Wayne Gretzky, had a sixth sense out on the turf, knew where everybody was.
That's right.
He made everybody play to a level that, everybody wanted to be a better player because he was out on the turf. And it was just one of those things on a regular basis that Tavares just always had that. But he was a very quiet guy. And I always wondered whether or not, one, he would be a captain, two, what would he be like as a coach? And as time went on and his playing career finally came to an end, I looked at him as a possibility. And I think the organization looked at him as a possibility, obviously, because, they didn't want to lose his just science of the game. And then that's when they brought Richie Kilgore in, and they both coached that same year together, where they both won the Coach of the Year honors between Richie Kilgore and John Tavares. And I think, they finally realized that this guy has an amazing feel of the game, and he just continually works it in his brain. And I said, John, well, how do you do it when you're on the bench? You got to watch your players or what they're doing. But on the other hand, he's trying to develop a scheme that would work with these guys that are out on the turf. So if he's got a player like Tahoka Nanticoke, which is entirely different, and then you've got Chris Cloutier, which is, he's got that great shot, and then you've got the great moves of Dane Smith, and then Josh Byrne, and then you've got Kyle Buchanan. I mean, he's got to think about all these guys and how they're going to work in together, and he mixes it so well. And I remember
back to the chemistry point you're making earlier.
Yeah, it's just he puts it all together from that standpoint, and it just boggles my mind of how they involve the systems, and they do. A lot of people don't understand. It is kind of surprising enough to say, well, it's not all freestyle, because they do have set plays. And if there's a play that's for Dehuka Nanako, as John Tavares had mentioned in his post-game presser, they have plays for Dehuka, but if Dehuka thinks that somebody else can do it better, Dehuka said, no, you give it to him. He could do it better, like Dane Smith or Josh Byrne or Chris Kluche or Kyle Buchanan.
You got to put the team first, and they do.
Ian McKay, and they do, and they mix it all together, which I think is fabulous. And then he is the maestro of it all, and he just stands there behind the bench, watches the game the way they do, and then he's got such a great working relationship with Steve Dietrich that from the defensive side of how that transition happens, and then offensively how they're able to put it together. And so I've just seen such an amazing amount of elevation of the game in just the 3 games that the Bandits have played. I have no idea how things are going to work out in the remaining 15 regular season games, but I'll tell you this, it just gets more exciting and more exciting. I mean, you saw Nanako's goals that he scored were just amazing Saturday night. And then the way Josh Byrne shoots the ball, and the way Dane Smith sets everybody up. And, Smith's got that wet Gretzky peripheral. He knows everybody is.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the great part of the change of the game, that it's just orchestrated to the point. And yeah, they do freestyle a little bit. Mm-hmm. Things break down just like Josh Allen does. If it breaks down, right, he's got to go on his own and kind of figure it out from there. And so I think that's what makes it so unique for the Bandits. But one thing, right at the beginning of my relationship with John Tavares, I was on the bus and we had gone to the shoot around, and it was all quiet, and I always sit in the third row on the right-hand side of the bus. And everybody walks out. Didn't know anybody from Alula Cole other than Richie Kilgore or Darius Kilgore, and maybe Steve Dietrich knew me from the Sabre days. And then John Tavares stops and looks at me. He said, "Come with me if you want to win."
Yes.
He was doing a Schwarzenegger thing.
I love that. That's a leader right there.
Held his hand out. Come with me if you want to win.
I love this.
So I said, all right, John.
Speaking of holding your hand out, let's show this ring again, because right now we are closing in on 1,800 live viewers. 1,800. Thank you so much.
Had to bring that rock in.
Got to bring the rock. John's got the rock.
One.
Let me show this to everybody here. This is what the Bandits championship ring looks like. Okay. This is one John Gurtler, play-by-play man, owns that. Check that out. It's unbelievable. Incredible.
Sal, you'll probably get one next year.
Oh man, don't tease me.
Come on now.
The Sabres and being on the Bills
got
being
all
on the radio
sorts of subscriptions in there and everything.
Yeah,
well, I was on the
really
radio
cool.
crew too, but I think the Bills will take a look at you and say, yeah, Sal gets one too.
That'd be amazing, right? Check that out. Yeah, my buddy is the sideline reporter for the Buccaneers. He has one.
Okay.
He has one, and he showed me that. I think it's a little scaled down version. That thing is amazing. What you have right there.
That's something.
And again, 1,800 live viewers right now. Thank you. That's right. Where's the first one?
First one's at home.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I've got the 2008 one at home, and then I won a Calder Cup in 1985, 86 when I was with the Amherst. Don Stevens was the play-by-play guy, because I had just come out to Buffalo, and they had a nice television arrangement for the Calder Cup playoffs, so they wanted to do Don on the television, and then the Sabres said, well, why don't you go down and do the radio for the Amherst and the Calder Cup? Yeah. I said, sure. And I said, well, the only payment that I want is a ring. If we win, I want a ring. And they said, that's a deal. And I got one.
I love it. That's great. By the way, my man Lex, who came in the chat, actually asked, how's your son doing? He coached him in Orchard Park.
Oh, yeah.
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 How's he doing? How are your kids doing?
Jake was a great athlete at Orchard Park. Wonderful tight end for the Quakers. And
great.
Lex was instrumental in a lot of things in Jake's growth. So Jake's doing well. He's living in South Carolina. Just brought John the Fourth into the world on December 20th.
How many grandkids you got?
2.
And they're keeping you active there?
Oh, yeah. Calvin lives in Los Angeles with my daughter Hillary, who's a production design director of the movie business. She went on the right side of the camera.
Yeah, right. No doubt.
And then Kelsey has the farm shop down in downtown Buffalo on the west side, right across the street from the place on Lexington.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm a West Side guy. We live over there.
You got to go.
I got to get the place. It's great.
Oh,
yeah. So it's right across from there?
Yeah.
Okay. I know where it is.
The street from the place.
I live not too far from there.
The farm shop.
John Gurtler, he is the play-by-play man of the Buffalo Bandits. We got the Bandits coming down here. A bunch of them are going to be coming down here in a little while. He's signing some autographs and talking to people. Come on down. We are here at TSE. and we're in this plaza here. You can't miss it. 3107 Orchard Park Road. John's got a whole bunch of games to call for the Bandits this year on a way to hopefully to a three-peat. Matt Vince, he's going to be coming down here, and I mean, this guy's like an inspiration to all us older guys, right? I mean, I'm still trying to play flag football out there. This guy's playing professional lacrosse at his age.
42 years old.
42 years old. He's the goalie for the Buffalo Bandits. I mean, does he ever cease to amaze you?
No, he doesn't, and he just continues to work out on a regular basis and keeps everybody tight with that. He'll call guys. They have a regular between the players, and they go on call together and they talk. And then Matt always has a new workout scheme that he wants to install on a weekly basis. This is what I do, and this is what I'm doing, and everything else. I mean, I have never seen the physique of a guy at 42 years old, and it's still reacting. And, get this, he's off such a great start. 8-time goaltender of the year in the National Lacrosse League. But now he's only allowed, 7 goals the first game, 7 goals the second game, and only 6 goals this game. His goals against are pretty amazing. I mean, that's unheard of in the game of indoor lacrosse.
It is.
To have that goals against average of 6.85, I think what it is, and leads the league in save percentage. So, and at 42, and he is just right on his game.
Yeah.
Never a second doubt from that standpoint. And as Tavares said again in his post-game presser on Saturday, he's playing like he's 25 and he's at the peak of his career.
I love that. No doubt about it. Matt Vince. He's
Vino.
I mean, hey, but is he on the Brady diet routine or something? I mean, trying to keep it going. Who knows, right?
You never know.
These guys, they're playing well into these ages now, where we see these guys playing. How about Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, these guys, their veterans are getting older, but I look at them and say they can play for quite a while now. These guys, they can keep
without
going.
a doubt. I mean, as Dane was saying, I think last year, he's one of the older players, but I said, Dane, you're, 11 years into the league right now. I mean, he's just at his prime. And then so much more. And when you watch Dane Smith out on the floor, now remember he started his career what they call in the game the back door, which is defensive. Okay. So Dane was a defenseman right at the beginning of his career.
I did not know that.
They called that the back door.
All right.
And then they allowed him to make the transition, similar to what you see in Ian McKay. They're trying to figure out, was it Ian play up front or is he a defenseman? They call this game with a transition, but I always call him a defenseman. And then similar to a fashion of the way Dane's career evolved. Once they got him out to the front door, after he got a couple of years under his belt into the league, and they got him out into the front door, they call that from offensive side.
Yeah.
And then, 2016, he scores 72 goals.
It's incredible. Oh my gosh.
And his first of the MVP status that he had. And then, the challenges that the team had at that time, 2016, and we went to the finals again, and we lost to Saskatchewan.
Okay.
And at that time, they were a really good team. The Rush was a great team, and they put themselves together. And we lost in the finals. And again, they had to kind of rebound on 2017, 18, trying to figure things out. 2017, they found a guy up in New Westminster, British Columbia, and Josh Byrne. And at that time, remember, the Sabres had their first overall pick through the creative trading of one Steve Dietrich and the number of first-round picks that were in there. And, 17 really wasn't that good of a year, so the Bandits had a good position.
Bandits.
And then they drafted Josh Byrne first overall, left-hander.
Are you?
And then that combined together between Byrne and Smith, and that's where the chemistry started.
Are you surprised how incredibly popular and big the Bandits in this sport have become in this town?
I'm not. And
I mean, they're selling out these games. Like the banner raising night was incredible, right? I mean, I'm watching. I wasn't able to make it, but I'm watching. It was what an atmosphere, and there was not an empty spot in that arena.
And the amazing part about it, Sal, is that Bandit Land, as everybody calls it now, they were asked to be in their seats by 6:10. By 6:15, when the ceremony started, 15 minutes before the face-off, the place was full. Everybody was there to watch the drama of that 6th banner going to the rafters, which was wonderful. So, I mean, it started like in 1992. I was with the Sabres at the time, and it was kind of like, what are the Sabres doing, bringing this indoor lacrosse in? Nobody seems to know what's going on and everything. And then, there's between Steve Donner and John Livesey and George Bergantz at the time, they convinced the Knox family to say, become a part of this. At that time, the league was owned by 2 guys. So they were the ones that put the players in the city. They did this. And so Buffalo went in.
Did they do it to kind of like make it like competitive, like parity?
Yeah.
Is that what they did basically?
So they sprinkled it around and they made Buffalo the team. And so that built up to a point. And at that time, I was more paying attention to the Sabres end of the business. But then for the first night, their first home game, and at that time they only played 8 games, 4 home, 4 and away. And the first night, everybody was trying to figure out, well, are people going to come to this? Yeah. And then they had to hold the face-off, I think, for 45 minutes. Face-off was at 7:30. But there were so many people in line to buy tickets. Wow. Nobody had purchased tickets in advance, and obviously they don't have the technology that we have today. You can buy a ticket instantaneously and also put it on your phone. But, the people had to wait in line, so they had to hold the game for 45 minutes before they had the face-off. And at that time, game number 1, they had 9,000 people at the old Odd for game number 1. And then after that game, place was sold out forever.
It still is.
Always
no
sold out.
It's incredible. Speaking of sold out, I mean, we're not sold out here. You have plenty of room. I want to wheel you around, folks. Check this out. This is what's happening right now. Check this out. TSE Buffalo. The crowd is filling up. People coming in to see some of their favorite Bandits. Check out all of the memorabilia they have going on here. Your chance to meet, greet, get stuff signed from some of your favorite and best Buffalo Bandits. John Gurtler's joining me here. I was just talking about today on you're okay sitting here. I've kept you a long time, right? You're good. Okay, I appreciate that. I was just talking today on my radio show on WGR about the old Odd, and my producer Josh Schmidt, he's a lot younger, so he never really experienced the Odd. And I said back in the day they had obviously the golds and the reds and the blues and the orange. You got a ticket. Your ticket was the color of the seat, and then they would rip it, and you would save that. I just remember those great days. Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah, those days are over anymore. I mean, there's some of the new
now you got to go to your phone and click it, and that's how you get in.
If you don't have a phone, you don't get in.
That's right.
That's the challenge.
And Wi-Fi.
You got to have everything.
Download it in your wallet. Oh my God.
The new Intuit Arena in Los Angeles. I'm like, if you don't have an iPhone, you can't come in.
Yeah. So
you got to have everything on your phone. That's all there. And then they had some way they do that, and they have their concessions, what they call grab and go. You just go in and grab what you want. Yeah. And then it's read on your phone.
That's right.
You don't have to go to a cashier or anything.
So what's crazy, you know why I know this? So the Bills played in LA, obviously, a few weeks ago. Well, that same weekend, my wife and son went to the game, but I fly on the team charter. They can't do that, but they went out to meet friends before me. My son is a big Benson Boone fan, and it just so happened there was a concert called the Jingle Ball going on at the Intuit Dome. So my wife and son went to that, and she says to me, "You're not going to believe this. You go in and you just do this grab and go thing, and you're already paid for."
Well, so it's like wild. I've never experienced
grocery shopping here.
I've never, but SoFi is the same way, right? Isn't it?
I don't know what they do there. You know what I don't like about SoFi? SoFi is if you have a ticket on the 3rd level, which is like the 500s, it's weird numbering. You can't even go down. So if you go to a Bills game, you can come down by the wall, say hi, watch the players. Okay. You can't do that. You can't go. You literally are confined into where your ticket is, and they have security everywhere. I don't like that. Yeah. This is what we're getting into these days with how these arenas are being built. Big new stadium coming in Buffalo. I want to get your thoughts on that because you've seen a lot of this transition going back. Obviously, you remember, OJ at War Memorial, and I mean, I know, where did you grow up?
Denver.
Okay,
Colorado.
so I don't know if you were here watching that, but what I'm talking about.
My first year in Buffalo or Western New York, I was in Rochester for 2 years, so we came in 1984.
Okay, but you remember War Memorial for a baseball stadium then?
Oh, yeah.
Before Pilot Field, now, Salem Field, what that is. And then obviously that was a big deal. It's still the largest minor league baseball stadium in the country. You remember obviously going from the Odd to KeyBank, and now we're going to go from this 50-plus-year-old football stadium to what is, I think, John, just going to be an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful new Bills stadium across the street.
What I've heard and what I've seen on the video vignettes of what they're doing and the construction process and the guys and gals who are behind this and all putting it all together in intricacies and making it intimate. And I just saw one of the video vignettes about the snow load on the on the
roof, the canopy.
They have that, and it's got its own defroster and everything else.
It's going to be like the largest snow melting system in the country, or something like that. They will have grass. It'll be a heated field. Be grass. You'll have 64% of the fans will be covered, and going to the game. So that's going to be a very cool thing as well. John Gurtler here, play-by-play man. What do you think about the Bills right now? You're a Bills fan. You follow the Bills.
Oh my gosh, I'm just...
You came in here going, "Come on, Sal, you're going to get a ring too." And I'm like, I don't want my mind to go there. But John, I mean,
you can't help
the best player in the league, and they got to win at some point.
You can't help but think about it, and the way that they've generated their playoff appearances, and now in certain areas of the game that they've just totally dominated. I'm not as crazy as my son is, who lives in South Carolina. He just absolutely loves the Bills and watches them. He knows the game so well. from that standpoint, all the intricacies.
Yeah.
But I look at it from just a value of the team. And again, as an announcer, looking at them, the way they play, and the chemistry that the team you probably see of how
100%.
well the offensive line is respected and the defense and just the backfield and the way Josh controls the game. And, there again, I grew up in Denver, so I went through the 4 Super Bowls with the Broncos and watching the Bills in the 4 Super Bowls and back and forth. And then noticing the way Jim Kelly used to play and then John Elway, the way he used to play and bring teams back and put it together. Josh is just light years ahead of these guys with creativity and talent and just the intuition of understanding how the game goes. I can't help but think that this year, the Buffalo Bills, when they go into the playoffs, and whether they probably draw the Denver Broncos first, right?
Yes.
It all depends
right.
on what happens over the summertime or whatever like that.
Yeah, probably. As long as Denver wins on Sunday against the Chiefs backups, then they will come here next week.
So then we get started on the playoffs, and again, that's just the thrill of it all, the first and second, and then by the time you get to the Super Bowl, I mean, it's exuberance from that standpoint. But I just see it. I see it from the standpoint of being a casual fan, an exciting fan from a Buffalo Bills standpoint of just the way they play, that they can't help but get through these little hoops of going through. The only team that I think that scares me right now is Baltimore.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a tough matchup, right?
But anything can happen in the NFL.
Yeah,
on any given Sunday.
And it's a lot of times if you lost to a team, you might have a bit of an advantage playing them again because you make the adjustments, right? Whereas they think they can just go in with the same game plan. I agree with you. Take me back to Denver, Elway, growing up watching him. I think Josh to me is the modern day John Elway. I mean, this kid, he's big, he's mobile. Elway wasn't the runner Josh is, but for that day and age, he was that kind of runner. What was it like watching Elway growing up and waiting for him to finally win one, which he finally did before he retired?
Yeah. In part of my career, I was a TV sports anchor in KRDO and TV 13 and an ABC affiliate down in Colorado Springs.
Love it.
At the time, that's the year that John Elway was drafted by the Baltimore Colts.
Yes.
And so, on the peripheral side of the fence, he'll go to the Colts and everything like that. And then the big story about how Elway changed his mind and how the Denver Broncos were able to get in position to, get John. And that the Mile High City just went crazy. And at that time, that was the year I actually left and went to Western New York. So I just, like you, I watched Elway's career from the outside. And at that time, I came in the same year that Jim Kelly had left Houston to become a part of the Bills. So that was just the infusion of both Jim Kelly and John Elway playing. It was just unbelievable to watch those guys, the way they played. And, they're again going through the 4 Super Bowls with Denver and the 4 Super Bowls with Buffalo. At that time, too, watching the Bills, and this is when the Sabres, were the odds, and it was the quirk of the schedule during the early part of the season where the Bills would play on Sunday, and the Sabres would have a game Sunday night at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, always.
And it was a quick transition.
Appointment viewing for Sabres, that's right.
Yeah, it was a quick transition. Everybody would leave the game in Buffalo with the Bills, and they come down to odd for the Sunday night. It was a wild sports day. And with that said, like the Bills do with the Sabres and Bandits, I mean, we've got a lot of Bills players that come to the Bandits games. But more importantly is that that was the era where a lot of Bills came to the game, the Sabres game,
that's right,
the day they played.
That's right.
They changed their uniforms. They get down to the odd, and like Kent Hull and the rest of the guys, they would come down and they would be right there in the stands.
Ever since Spencer Brown wore the goat head as he walked into a Bills game a few weeks ago, the Sabres, I know that they blew it last night on the leave. They still got a point, but the Sabres have played pretty well since then. And no doubt. I mean, look.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, listen, I mean, you've been here long enough to know the Sabres, how much they mean to this community. For them to have this playoff drought going, I mean, what's it going to be like when they finally break it and break through? They will at some point. And, chances are pretty slim this year with where they are in the standings, but man, this town needs the Sabres to be good.
They can pull it around. They can do it. And they've got the infusion of just the unbelievable loyal fans. This is the #1 sport market in the country for following their teams. The Bills, the Sabres, the Bandits, the Bisons, what other teams that they've got in order for the fans to get, and they just rally so heavily together. So, you're going to see it sooner or later with the Sabres pulling it together, the Bandits keeping their enthusiasm going. And this is the year, Sal, of the Buffalo Bills.
And
hopefully by the end of February or March, they're going to ask you, Sal, what is your ring size?
Yeah, I know. That'd be amazing. Hey, let's bring it back to lacrosse right now. Let's bring it back to the Bandits because we're down here at TSE Buffalo.
Yeah, look at the crowd.
It's incredible. It's great.
Wow.
Let me just wheel everybody around here. The crowd is filling up. They're getting ready to see some of their favorite Bandits, and you can too. You have plenty of time on a nice Friday night. Come on down here, 3107 Orchard Park Road. 2,200 live viewers right now coming in to say hi to John Gurtler here at Sal's house and to watch here at TSE Buffalo. What is the future of this game? It's going to keep growing, it looks like, John. I mean, it's growing with the youth, the fan base, right? I mean, it's not just here in Buffalo, around the country. Denver is a big lacrosse city.
Yes,
I mean, they have a great college program, obviously, out in North Maryland and that area, Virginia, but it just seems like it's growing and growing. What is the future of this game?
The box game will continue to grow in its enthusiasm and become, a great spectacle for fans to follow the game. I think where the infusion of enthusiasm is that this game, which will be a part of the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, it's called the Sixes. It will be played on the field. Now, there's quite a difference between field lacrosse and box lacrosse. But I think what they've tried to do is they call it the Sixes, so there'll be 6 players out on the field. The field will have its dimensions, and the goals will be different as well. But I think, with people now following the game, and the National Lacrosse League is doing a great job of promoting the game, not only field-wise, but certainly they have a responsibility of doing that to grow the game. And now what they're trying to do is put the game in different markets, not a National Lacrosse League market, but just to kind of grow the game. And they set up the plays the way they do it. It's called the Unbox program, where they'll work with schools and sticks and equipment so people will get a feel of what's going on with this game. So that's going to grow. I think the enthusiasm of the fact that the game will be in the Olympics. It won't be the box game, but it will be the lacrosse game. The Sixes is what they call it out on the field.
It's amazing.
So it'll be different.
That's cool.
But the excitability, I think, will be great, if I can use that word.
Hey,
did George Bush use that? Excitability.
A lot of these guys they play on the outdoor game when they're in the off season, right? They play in these other leagues, right?
Yes.
Like you'll see Dane Smith playing in that, so it does translate for some of them, and really quite often a lot of them.
Yes, some of the guys, a handful of the guys, do play in the summer leagues, the Premier Lacrosse League.
That's right, Premier.
And then a lot of the guys will play box in the summertime up in Ontario or out in British Columbia as well. So they keep very active. It's just like baseball. They'll play the regular season and the national majors, and then they'll go and play in various teams in Canada, and then the field guys will play during the field schedule in the summertime, which gets more exposure, obviously, because there's only baseball going on, so that they have a little bit more exposure. But just anything, to me, a stick and a ball, it's lacrosse, so people get the feel of it, And I think from the standpoint of just the resolute of the fans here, I mean, this is amazing. This is an off weekend. There is no Bandits game this weekend.
That's right.
So it's a great opportunity for people to come down. And I think Yanni said it, our producer and your lovely wife said, is it snowing?
It's
no, it is not.
Come on down, 3107 Orchard Park Road.
It's not.
I mean, it is filling up, and I know a lot of people come in just buying tickets now. You can just come on down now and buy a ticket here. A lot of these people are doing that here. Take a look. They're buying tickets. They're lining up. They're going to see some of their favorite Bandits. We're watching the door closely to see some of these Bandits come in very shortly. They'll be here. Let me just throw it up on the screen once again. Then I want to get to the schedule so everybody sees what's going on.
Look at these names
with the Bandits. All right. So let me get to the schedule here. Look at this. Josh Byrne, Dane Smith. This is all coming here. These are all coming here tonight, folks. All right. Matt Vince, Tehoka. I always say Tehoka. You say
Tehoka.
Right? Tehoka. Thank you. Nanticoke, Chase Frazier, John Tavares. 6 o'clock for some of these guys, 7 o'clock for others. Check TSEBuffalo.com. They'll have the exact schedule when, but either way, come on down. You're going to see some of them. You're going to be able to buy some stuff. You're going to be able to get it signed. You buy a ticket to get an item signed. You come in here. You can just do it while you come here tonight. Let's take a look at the Bandits' upcoming schedule. You said they do not have a game this weekend. Their next game is at home, though.
Friday night,
a week from tonight.
Week from tonight.
7:30.
Toronto comes to town, and always that series is just wild. And Toronto's just off to a terrible start at 0-4, but don't underestimate these guys. I mean, Toronto's a very good team, and they will come in with fire ablazing.
And then
because they feel bad that they're 0-4, but they'll be able to put a good game together. And that always when you have a game, Buffalo and Toronto, doesn't matter whether it's the Maple Leafs or the Sabres, it's just a wild game. So Friday night, it is a Native American night as well, which is a very traditional celebration of the game, the creators game that the Bandits have done over the course of years. So that intermix, and they also will have the Native American scholarship, which the Bandits present to a very lucky Native American will be attending college. So that's good. So that was a wonderful game.
And then the 18th, which is the following Saturday night, the Wings from Philadelphia come to town at 7:30. Now, let's remember, if the Bills take care of business next weekend at home, they'll have another home playoff game, and it's going to be either the 18th or the 19th. We don't know yet. So you could have a really fun weekend here in Buffalo that weekend.
Just the past weekend was pretty wild, right? We had the Sabres play the Blackhawks Friday night. The Bandits play the Nighthawks Saturday, and then the Bills played the Jets Sunday. So there was a triple header.
No doubt.
So it was great.
Bobby is in the chat. He says, "What's up, Sal?" All right, go Bills. All right, thank you very much, Bobby, for everybody. We got close to 2,400 live viewers. It's time to say goodbye to everybody here as we kind of let TSE take over with the Bandits and all these guys coming in. This is amazing. I love this. This just shows you how much this city loves their Buffalo Bandits and loves their lacrosse. So what do we got here? Let me promote this. Oh, here we go. Thank you. All right, so we got the list. Coming up here in just 5 minutes from now, Chase Frazier, John Tavares, and Matt Vince are going to be here. And then at 7 o'clock, Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, and Tahoka Nanticoke. So there you go. I'll put up exactly how they wrote it to me, folks. There you go. All right, that's how they wrote. That's the note I just got. The good handwriting. I can let you see that. There's the good penmanship. Thank you to everybody here at TSE Buffalo, TSEBuffalo.com. Let me thank our sponsors, and then we'll say goodbye to John here. TSE, TSEBuffalo.com. Come on down here for all of the memorabilia you want. It doesn't matter if it's Bandits, Sabres, Bills, all different kinds of markets. All right. It's amazing. All the stuff they have here. It's right here at 3107 Orchard Park Road. And they're here tonight for, again, Chase Frazier, John Tavares, Matt Vince at 6 o'clock, Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, Tahoka Nanticoke coming up at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much to Sports City Pizza Pub. Once again, congratulations to Mike and his family and his wife for having a child, their first child, and it's awesome. He was posting on Facebook, so I don't think he minds that I share that they had their first child, so congratulations. And, of course, you go on down there, you watch all the great games going on this weekend, whether it's the Bills and other football games, college football, NBA, NHL, pizza, wings. They got everything for you, and it's a great spot to watch all the games. Thank you very much once again to Herbal IQ. Herbal IQ is a licensed New York State dispensary located at 6055 Transit Road in Depew. Check them out. Thank you very much for being a part of Sal's House. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want to be a part of Sal's House." I said, "Absolutely. Let's do that. Let's keep it going." And by the way, if you'd like your business to be a part of Sal's House, you can contact me and my wife, Capaccio Media. That's our company, but send me an email, all right? salsportsmedia@gmail.com, or you can find me on Twitter or whatever. But if you want to have your business front and center here on Sal's House, make sure you do that. John, we had 2,400 live viewers, man.
Wow.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, you've always been so good to me, and I appreciate that. It's so great.
Thank you so much.
Great to be here with you, with John Gurtler here.
Yeah.
Want to thank everybody. Thanks a lot to my wife, Yana, for helping out tonight, making sure we're all good to go with all of you out there. Thank you to everybody who came into the chat. Thanks for watching us, whether you're on Twitter/X, at the Sal Sports Facebook page, or the Sal Sports YouTube page, where we are just shy of 11,000 subscribers. Make sure you go there and do that. For John Gurtler, I'm Sal Capaccio. For everybody here at TSE Buffalo, come on down 3107 Orchard Park Road, and you're going to meet some Buffalo Bandits tonight.